Welcome to our Bedtime Stories channel. Tonight's story will take you on a gentle journey into sweet dreams.
The little star who forgot how to shine. Above a quilt of quiet clouds, where the air felt like warm cotton and the night breathed in slow, careful sighs, a little star drifted alone. It was not lost. It simply felt unsure, as if its shine had slipped into a pocket it could not find. The other stars glittered politely, never too bright or noisy. But the little star kept itself dim, afraid to disturb the sky. "I used to know how to glow," the star whispered, its voice small and silver. It tried to remember the trick of lighting up the way it once did, how the spark began in the center and traveled outward. How the light felt like a smile that started in the ribs and moved to the edges. But when it tried now, nothing happened. A small worry fluttered through it. What if my light is gone? A breeze drifted by, smelling of moon milk and pine after rain. It curled around the star and carried a story in its soft hands. "You are not broken," the breeze murmured. "Sometimes light rests." The words did not fix the star, but they felt kind, like a blanket over cool shoulders. Far below, a child named Eli sat on the top step outside a blue house. Eli's socks were thick and mismatched, and his eyes held the patient shine children have when they are waiting for sleep. He traced patterns on the step with one finger, loops for waves, dots for fireflies, lines for hills. When he looked up, he noticed the shy star that seemed to hesitate. He lifted his hand and waved. He did not call out. He knew the night prefers whispers. The star felt the wave the way a pond feels the pup of gentle attention moving outward. It answered with the quietest blink. Eli smiled as if he had met a timid animal and promised to move slowly. He tucked his chin into his scarf and spoke in the voice he saved for small birds. "It's all right," he said. "You don't have to be bright. You just have to be here." Those words settled into the star like tea into a cool cup. The breeze wrapped them both, child and star, and the moon tilted her face to listen. Somewhere a lighthouse turned, laying a pale ribbon across the ocean like a path. Eli's mother opened the door with a sleepy hinge. "One more minute," she smiled. "Then bed, little explorer." Eli nodded. He pressed his palm to his heart and offered that small promise to the sky. The star copied it in star language. It held its place a little steadier, as if hands could cup light without closing. The night deepened kindly. Crickets filed soft reports. A far train hummed like a lullaby behind a hill. The star felt the worry grow drowsy. Perhaps the light was not gone. Perhaps it was just quiet, waiting for the right invitation. Eli closed his eyes and breathed in, slow as oars on a glassy lake. "Tomorrow," he whispered to the shy star, "we'll practice shining together." The next evening arrived, wrapped in silver mist. The sea below turned the color of deep sleep, and the sky yawned open like a velvet curtain. The little star drifted into its place again, just above the blue house. Just above Eli. All day it had tried to remember how to sparkle. It had stretched and blinked, whispered tiny songs to itself, even counted the seconds between heartbeats. But still, the light stayed shy inside its chest, curled up like a kitten that needed more time. Down on earth, Eli was busy with a plan. He carried his grandmother's old jar, the one with a smooth lid and a crack like a smile along the side. He had decided it would be his wish jar. Every night, he would catch one small piece of wonder and keep it safe just until morning. Tonight, he wanted to catch the shy star's reflection. Maybe if he could show the star its own face, it would remember how to shine. He set the jar on the windowsill and waited. The room smelled of chamomile and soap bubbles. His mother hummed somewhere down the hall, folding laundry, her tune floating like the wing of a slow bird. Eli lifted the jar, turning it gently so the glass could drink some moonlight. "You can rest here if you like," he whispered to the star. No one will hurry you. The star high above heard the invitation. It felt the air tremble in the soft way that words do when they mean kindness. It tried again. The smallest pulse of light appeared so small it could have been imagined, but it was real. The moon noticed and smiled wider, stretching her glow to cover the shy star in a thin scarf of silver. "There," said the moon, "every shine begins small." Eli gasped softly when he saw it. "You did it," he breathed. He tapped the jar once, not to trap the light but to remind it that someone saw. The star blushed, if stars can blush, and its glow deepened just enough to paint a soft dot on Eli's window. Between them, distance became something gentle instead of lonely. In the harbor, waves clapped in slow applause. The lighthouse blinked its steady rhythm. Bright, fade, bright, fade. The rhythm matched the star's new heartbeat, and Eli, resting his chin on the window frame, felt sleep climbing his shoulders like a warm blanket. "Tomorrow," he murmured, "will shine a little more." The breeze returned, curling through the open crack, carrying scents of salt and thyme. It brushed Eli's eyelids closed and whispered to the star, "See, light remembers the way home." Above the clouds, the little star floated easier, rocking in the hush between moon and sea, and for the first time in many nights, it did not feel afraid of the dark. It felt part of it. On the third night, a hush lay over the town like a soft shawl. Eli brought his wish jar again, and this time a small notebook with a stubby pencil. He had decided that shining, like reading or tying laces, might need gentle practice. He wrote 3 steps on the first page. Breathe, listen, glow. He pressed the page to the window so the shy star could read it. High above, the little star drifted to its place over the blue house. The words reached it as if the paper were a lantern. Breathe, listen, glow. The star tried the first step. It breathed the way night breathes, in with the quiet, out with the worry. Something inside loosened, like a tiny knot. Remembering it didn't have to hold everything. "Good," murmured the moon. "Now listen." So the star listened to the lighthouse counting seconds, with its turning beam, to the tide, hush and hush again. To Eli's window, where a small finger tapped a slow rhythm on the glass. 3 soft taps, a pause. 3 soft taps, a pause. The rhythm made a cradle of the air. When the listening had filled the star like warm tea, there was room for the third step, glow. It didn't force the light out. It invited it up, the way you call a shy cat by sitting still and being kind. A pearl of brightness gathered in the star's center, not hot, not sharp, simply true. It rose until the star felt a quiet click. The gentle latch of a door that had been almost closed and was now a little open. Eli saw it at once. The glow brushed the wish jar, and the cracked glass split the light into thin, sleepy rainbows that walked along the sill. Eli whispered, "Breathe, listen, glow," and matched his breaths to the lighthouse. In with bright, out with fade. His shoulders dropped. The room turned soft around the edges. The star tested its new courage. It brightened, then rested, brightened, then rested, learning that rest was part of shining and not a failure. The breeze gathered the rhythm like a song to carry along rooftops, so that cats on warm stones and boats at their posts breathed a little easier. Eli's mother peeked in and found him drowsing by the window, chin in his palm, pencil asleep on the page. She kissed his hair and turned the blanket over his knees. 2 more minutes, she whispered. Outside, the lighthouse threw one more golden stripe, and the stripe reached the star as softly as a hand, finding another in the dark. The star felt larger without moving, the way hearts do when someone believes in them. It understood, just a little, that light isn't a test you pass. It is a kindness you practice. Eli's eyes slid closed. The wish jar kept its rainbows. Above the blue house, the star kept breathing with the sequoia in. worry out until the night began to glow, ready to guide both child and star into tender sleep. The following night arrived with a low hum in the air, as if the world itself were remembering a song it loved. Clouds drifted like sleepy whales across the dark, their bellies brushed with moonlight. Eli woke briefly when a cool wind touched his cheek. The curtains danced, slow and small, and in that dim shimmer, the shy star waited in its familiar place above the chimney. But it no longer looked quite so shy. Its glow trembled but did not hide. "Hello again," whispered Eli, his voice a yawn wearing a smile. "Did you keep practicing?" The star flickered twice, as if to nod. A soft comfort stretched between them, invisible but strong, like a bridge woven from trust. Eli reached for the wish jar and set it open on the windowsill. "If you need to rest," he said, "you can borrow my dreams tonight." The breeze caught the words and folded them into a pocket of wind. They floated up, brushing through the star's faint halo. Dreams from Earth smelled like cinnamon and storybooks and pencil, shavings from homework that was finally done. The scent made the star giggle a sound so light only the moon could hear. "You see," said the moon gently, "even laughter is light." For the first time, the star wanted to travel, not just hover. It looked beyond the horizon, where faint glimmers of other stars called softly. But then it thought of Eli, of the window and the jar and the patient rhythm of the lighthouse beam. "If I go too far," it worried, "he might think I've forgotten him." The moon tilted her silver brow. "True friends don't vanish when they rest," she said. "They return brighter." Down below, Eli leaned on the sill until sleep tugged his eyelids. He dreamed he was floating upward, holding the jar like a lantern. The jar's crack shone like a path through the clouds. In his dream, he met the little star face. It wasn't blinding. It was calm and golden and smiling. "You were never broken," said the star in the voice of the sea's edge. "You just needed to remember your rhythm." When Eli's breathing slowed to the deep music of dreams, the star glowed one steady shade brighter. It poured a sliver of that new light into the jar, just enough for a small morning surprise. The jar caught it softly, holding it like a secret promise. Far away, the moon yawned. The clouds turned like lazy dancers, and the sea pressed its cool cheek to the shore. Every light in the sky dimmed a little, making room for sleep. But the shy star, the one that had forgotten how to shine, now pulsed with quiet confidence. Not loud, not bold, just certain. It was enough. Morning came softly to the blue house, wrapping everything in a thin blanket of gold. Eli woke before his mother, eyes still heavy with dream dust. The wish jar glimmered faintly on the sill, though no sunbeam had reached it yet. When he picked it up, the crack along the side sparkled, as if someone had tucked a piece of moon inside. "You left me something," he whispered, smiling at the faint shimmer resting within. He shook the jar gently, and tiny specks of light drifted like sleepy snow. "Thank you," he said toward the sky, though daylight hid the stars. That evening, when the first tint of violet brushed the horizon, Eli hurried back to his window. He had spent the day painting a picture of the little star with a soft, white glow surrounded by waves and wind. He wanted the star to know it was remembered even when the sun ruled the sky. As twilight deepened, he held the painting up for the heavens to see. "Look," he called quietly, "I made you something." The star, resting after a long day of sleeping behind blue, felt the tug of that small voice. It peeked from the first veil of dusk, saw the painting, and trembled with joy. To the star, the picture looked like home. Waves of blue laughter, white curls of kindness, and a shape that looked just like itself but stronger. "He sees me," thought the star, and that thought made it glow from center to edge like water remembering sunlight. The moon noticed and whispered, "Light shared is light doubled." She leaned down and touched the sea, and ripples of brightness spread all the way to the harbor. The lighthouse caught them and sent them forward in soft pulses that matched Eli's heartbeat. Up above, the little star joined in, each shimmer a word of thanks. Eli pressed his palms to the glass. The window was cool but alive, humming faintly with reflected light. He could almost feel the stars reply. "You're getting braver," he whispered, the words sliding into a sigh. His mother peeked into the room, saw him bathed in faint starlight, and didn't scold. She simply smiled and whispered, "5 more minutes, dream captain." Outside, night gathered slowly. The fields stretched into shadows. The crickets tuned their tiny violins, and the moon drifted higher. Eli's eyelids fluttered, his breathing slowed, and the wish jar glowed softly beside the painting. Above it all, the star pulsed in time with the boy's sleep. For the first time, it didn't worry about being bright enough. It just shone in rhythm with a friend's dream. On the 6th night, the wind arrived early, carrying the cool smell of rain that hadn't fallen yet. The sky wore soft gray ribbons, and the moon was only half awake. Peeking through the folds of cloud, Eli sat by his window again, hugging his knees. He had something new tonight, little tune. He had hummed all afternoon while helping his mother wash dishes. He didn't know where the melody came from, but it felt like it belonged to the star. So when the first glimmer appeared above the chimney, he began to hum it again, very low, just a thread of sound. The star drifted into place, tired from traveling through gusty skies. When it heard the tune, it paused mid. The sound reminded it of something older than itself, the lullaby sung by galaxies when they were new, when every light in the sky was learning to find its rhythm. Slowly, the star matched the hum with a flicker, bright when the note rose, dim when it fell. The wind carried their duet across rooftops, turning it into a hush that soothed the world. Down below, Eli felt the rhythm returning through his fingertips. The wish jar on the sill trembled slightly, its glass alive with reflections. He opened the lid, letting the night breathe through it. The rain began soft first, like fingers tapping on a drum far away. Each drop caught a piece of starlight, so the whole street glittered as if someone had spilled a box of tiny mirrors. The moon smiled behind her veil. "Now you're not just shining," she told the little star. "You're sharing," and indeed, the star's glow traveled with the raindrops, slipping down gutters, resting on leaves, curling into puddles. Eli watched through the glass, amazed. The dark street shimmered with a quiet kind of magic that didn't ask to be noticed. It simply was. He whispered through the rhythm of rain, "Maybe your light was never lost. Maybe it was just waiting to meet the dark kindly." The star pulsed in agreement. For the first time, it no longer feared the night around it. It belonged to it. The world was softer, wider, and full of places where its light could rest. Eli's hum slowed into a sigh. His eyes grew heavy. He leaned his head against the window frame, and the wish jar reflected the faint rise and fall of his breath. Above, the star held its glow steady, protecting that quiet space between heartbeat and dream. The rain sang the rest of their lullaby, each drop a silver note that whispered, "You're safe, you're seen, you're home." By the 7th night, the clouds had cleared, leaving the sky washed and new. The streets were damp, and the leaves held tiny pearls of water that winked when the lighthouse turned. Eli's mother tucked him in early with warm socks and a book he didn't start. He waited for that moment, when the house settled, and then slid to the window with his wish jar and the notebook. He opened to a clean page and drew a star with a steady outline. Under it, he wrote, "Together is brighter." He pressed the page to the glass so the night could read. Above the chimney, the little star arrived on time, wearing a calm it had not known before. Its glow was no longer a question. It was a promise spoken softly. When it saw the sign, it brightened a notch, then rested, as if nodding yes. "Tonight," Eli said, "we will share our shine." He set the jar on its side, so light could wander in and out like a cat visiting and then going home. He hummed the tune again, slower now, leaving room for silence to sing along. The star answered with a patient pulse, and the lighthouse kept the beat, and the sea stitched the edges with its hush-hush needle. Something new happened. One by one, neighboring windows flickered. A child across the lane set a toy lantern on her sill. A dog curled on a stoop and stopped guarding, just listening. The shy star became a small conductor of stillness, and the stillness spread like warm tea through a cold room. Eli felt it first, the way his chest opened without effort. He wasn't trying to make the star shine anymore. He was keeping it company while it did. He traced a slow circle on the fogged glass with one finger, and the circle glowed where the jar threw its thread of light. "You're doing it," he whispered, not a cheer, but a blessing. The star answered with a longer, steadier beam that brushed the harbor, climbed the masts, and tucked itself into the curve of each sleeping wave. The moon tilted her listening ear and spoke so softly the words were more feeling than sound. "Light is a road we walk." Together, Eli closed his notebook and rested his forehead on the pane. The room, the street, the sky, everything matched the same peaceful tempo. He was nearly asleep when he felt a tiny tick in his palm. He looked down. A fleck of brightness, no bigger than a breath, had fallen from the sill into his hand. It didn't buzz or burn. It simply warmed. Eli placed the fleck inside the jar and set the jar beside his bed. "For morning," he murmured. Above, the star held steady, keeper of the hush between heartbeats, companion to the moon's slow drift. It was not the brightest in the sky, and it did not need to be. It knew where its light belonged, with the night, with the sea, with a boy who had waited kindly long enough to show it the way back to itself. On the 8th night, the town settled early, as if everyone remembered a lullaby. Eli checked the wish jar, wrapped a blanket round his shoulders, and slid to the window. He didn't bring the notebook. His heart knew the steps. Breathe, listen, glow. The little star came above the chimney, unhurried and sure. Eli drew a small circle in the air. The star answered with a warm pulse, then another, tying an invisible ribbon between them. "Thank you for coming back," Eli whispered. "Little one," the moon told the star, "you have learned your quiet strength. Will you carry it into morning?" Then the star did something new. It pressed a steady light downward, not hard or sharp, simply clear. The light stepped from the window to the street, then to the harbor, ringing the masts like tiny bells. It ran along the waves and returned as a soft glow that perched on the sill like a small bird. With careful courage, the star let the glow settle inside the wish jar. Eli watched, wide-eyed but drowsy, as the jar filled with the gentlest brightness, the kind that turns the corners of shadows friendly. The crack in the glass didn't break the light, it braided it. "For tomorrow," he murmured. "For mornings when school is big and I am small." The star pulsed in agreement. Eli's mother stood in the doorway. She kissed his hair and switched off the lamp, leaving only the jar in the sky to work. "Sleep," she breathed, and the word unlocked a quiet room inside Eli's chest. The house settled. The street relaxed. Eli lay down, one hand on the blanket, one near the jar. He let his eyes close like pages finishing a story they loved. As they closed, the star learned its last lesson. Light is not a contest, and darkness is not an enemy. They are partners in the dance that lets the world rest. Above the blue house, the star shone, not the loudest, not the smallest, just enough. It held the night gently. When dawn poured pale milk across the roofs, the star did not fear the day. It faded gently, trusting the jar to keep a sip of kindness for Eli's pocket, and trusting that evening would return with room for breath and listening and glow. Morning opened the curtains. Eli woke to the soft light he and the star had saved. It felt like a promise that didn't need words. He smiled brave in small ways and the day smiled back. High above, just before it went to sleep behind the blue, the star looked once more at the little house, and the boy who had made space for its gentleness. I will come again, it thought. Every night we will remember how to shine together. The sky tucked in its scattered lights, and quiet grew whole enough to hold every dream. In that quiet, Eli slept, the star rested, and the world carried them both toward the softest morning it knew.